Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I just finished making another one of these 0-point base plates for a gentleman named Warren, and I'm going to be shipping this off to him, a fellow blacksmith here, later today. But before I ship it, I thought it would be a great opportunity for me to show him and prospective buyers of these plates how easy it is to set up, or how one could go about setting it up accurately. So I'm gonna pull this existing plate off my number 5 Karachi Fly Press, and then I'll put the new one on, and basically just go over some of the changes with this newer plate, newer design. Warren, you're definitely getting the better plate out of the two. I mean, this one works just fine, but I think yours is far and above an improvement to this bad boy. So without further ado, let's do this. Let's go ahead and start with the hardware. The plate's designed to use 3/8/16 socket head or socket cap screws. The thread is about 2 inches below the head. So overall length of this screw is about 2 1/4 inches. And I've paired these up with these T-nuts. So you need 2 of these bolts, these screws, and then 2 of the T-nuts. And then these T-nuts, probably the smallest T-nut that you want to have, and T-nuts are generally measured, the distance, this lower width and this upper width. And on this T-nut, which fits just fine, the lower is about 7/8 and the upper is about 1/2 inch. This is sized for my other equipment, and it just happens to work on this as well. So before installing the plate, I recommend putting some kind of rust inhibitor. LPS3 works well. I mean, you could even just do oil, WD-40, even Johnson's paste wax. If beforehand you clean it off with some alcohol, for example, put some paste wax on there, just something to seal it up so you don't trap it in moisture or develop rust over time. It would take a long time for this bad boy to rust, but not a bad idea to do that. So this is how I'm going to start installing this, and I'm going to concentrate on the right side T-nut first, and then we'll go to the next. And it can be tricky, you can't really reach in here to tighten that up. So if you hang one side off the table and then start it where you have access to it, it's a good way to start. And then I'll slide this. I've already started it. I'll slide it this way, and then on the other side I'll drop this one in and screw it into here. Now this is the hardest one. I've had luck using a file like this and just holding it inside and then dropping this in and then screwing it in the T-nut. So I'll do that now. Lining up that second T-nut with the bolt is by far the most difficult part of this operation of setting this up. It's not easy by any means. Something that helps me do it, well, you definitely want to have a lot of light, but I'll set the T-nut on this and I'll slide it in the slot until it's under the hole. And then I take something like this. You could use like a 3/16 rod. I have a little pick. And I put the pick down into that hole, and I find the center of that T-nut and make sure it's centered. And then that way, when I drop this socket cap screw, it's on the threads, and I can thread it in. I mean, otherwise you can be fumbling with this for 10 minutes before you get it. But that seems to be a good way to line it up first. Make sure the T-nut's not too far, not too close. Again, the hardest part. But now that we've got both of these threaded, I'm going to snug it up a little bit, and then we'll we'll go into the alignment process. You know, we want this hole to be lined up exactly with the centerline axis of the travel of this ram. We'll call that the Z travel. So let me snug this up, and then we'll line this up, tighten it up, and that'll be that. And then we'll go over the other features. The two items that are going to help us center this and make sure that we're aligned like that is this Hardy base plate that comes with the base. I've got a 5/16 hex, a 1/4 turn will release this. I got greasy fingers. And a 1/4 turn will tighten it, and that's all it needs. It doesn't need to be cranked down like a vise. It is solid. We've got two pins that are keeping this tight and in place. And that's an advantage over my unit, where I think I have to do several turns before it's loose enough to remove this or tighten it. And then I've got this indexing and alignment tool that I've designed. I think it actually says it here, alignment and indexing tool. So this will index in with the tool holder, which has this set screw and then this flat. Let me put that in there. All right. Yeah. And then this 1-inch Hardy plug will go into this Hardy plate. We line them both up. We know we're there. Let me loosen this stock collar. So now we can see this plate needs to come forward. And there we go. So I'm just going to by eye make sure that this is centered. You know, it's quite precise. Of a fit. I milled it just big enough to where this tool will fit in there. So now that it's lined up, I can tighten these in. And then I know whenever I put on a new bottom die, it will always line up in the center of this ram, and it'll have the correct angle as well. And of course, if you ever have a die that you can always retram this or readjust this. And what's interesting about this whole setup is if you look at, so what's different about this plate, let me just start this way. What's different about this plate compared to my old one is these two countersunk holes, or slots in this case. They're wider apart, so we have more room to adjust it this way. And then they're elongated so that, you know, I can adjust it this way, forward and back, let's say in Y. In X, I can adjust it this way, and then I can get a little angle. And you'll notice that I've got a little bit more room here and a little bit more room here. You know, this fly press, these fly presses, you know, they start out in a foundry. They're made in a foundry, and then they're machined later and assembled. And I mean, as precise and repeatable as they are, you can see they were off a little bit. I mean, this whole process of making the fly press, I don't think they ever foresaw me doing this, putting this, a bit of precision fixturing on here, but it works. With this way, it works. All right, so let's pull over some of the other parts. We got the fence to look at. We got the fence to look at, and then we'll wrap this up. So here's the fence. It's made out of the same metal as the base plate, 1045 steel. And I've got two quick adjust handles, just like my plate, to slide this. Now I've changed the position of these slots. Okay, so we have more range of motion, more options to place this fence, which is good, which freed up a little bit more space here, for enough for a scale of 6 inches. So you have plus 3 inches on this side, plus 3 inches on that side. I have no idea if that's going to be useful, but you know, it was horizontal real estate, so I threw it on there. So once this base plate is in place, it's easy enough to reach underneath with these T-nuts and thread on the handle. So there's one. Let me get the other one. So I'll use this Hardy base as a guide. So both of these are tight now. I like the look of this one. So I'm going to lift up on this handle. There's a spring in here. I can lift up on it, swing it around, and bring it down. Now they both look similar. And when I want to put the fence away, I loosen it, put it away. If I want to bring it forward, I can bring it all the way forward and then tighten it up. I've also included a Hardy plug right here if you want to plug this up. These holes are 16 millimeters, which is about 5/8 of an inch, if I'm not mistaken. On my fly press, I've got some hardware I throw in there, like this, which, I mean, any blacksmith can fab up something like this. These aren't included in the package, but like I said, some 16 millimeter round rod can fit right in there fine if you want to use it in this flat configuration and not worry about forge scale getting in there. But honestly, with the Hardy plug, I mean, you'll be hard pressed to, depending on your tooling, to even need to open or to not use these locating and tightening holes. And then to get this out, obviously I need a magnet to do that, or I can poke it up from the bottom. But so now with this way, we can move the fence in either direction or forward and back. I like to use mine as a guide to put on, or to rest things that I don't normally tighten down. For example, it's my bending jig. I've got a piece of S7 block that I'll set on here and use as an anvil, and I like to be able to move that S7 block depending on how irregular the item is I'm forging. Before I wrap this video up, I'm just going to quickly go through some of the options that you can have on a fly press. We'll start with the Hardy plate. I make this plate with a 1-inch Hardy. I also make it in a 1-inch round for riveting. It's not a through hole, where you can put round bottom tools in there. So let's start with the 1-inch Hardy and take a look at some of the options we have. We've got this convex fullering die, which you can put some really unique details in. I'm just starting to experiment with this, and so far it's pretty cool. And then you've got your fullering dies. These come in 1/2 inch, 3/4, and 1 inch. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. The new item that I now have in stock are these round forming dies. And these are sweet. These are really fun. I've already used these to make several coffee scoops. This is a 30 mil, and it makes a really nice 1 tablespoon, regular size coffee scoop. And again, just to illustrate, since we've centered this base plate, it's as easy as setting this in here. Obviously, I can tighten that up, and this is perfectly aligned now with this bottom die, just like that. So that's the 30 mil. I also make a 15 mil. Other than scoops, I think this will also come in handy forging in, little round hemispherical shapes. Say you wanted to do a banded door or table or some kind of trim work, you could have these little round hemispheres. You just feed your flat stock through here at the interval you want, and you can make some really precise forge work that I think will look really cool. I think I got a couple more things I can show you, and then I'll wrap this up. Let's see. You guys have all seen the slot punch. So this slot punch, oops, that's a good fit. This slot punch, this is how I start all of my bottle cap openers. For years I would sit on the anvil and I have a handheld one. I'd do one side, flip it over, find the witness mark, punch through, pull it over the ant. I mean, it was fun to learn how to do it that way, and it's amazing how good blacksmiths are at punching those. But I'm spoiled with this. It's one and done most of the time, and I've got the hole in my stock. All right, one more piece. You guys probably remember my original plate was this little fixture plate that I made, and I drilled a bunch of these holes so I could hold my dies down. Well, I just took that, I threw in my retention knobs at the proper interval. So now I can always revert back to this plate. And if I have something irregular, like maybe I want to put this bad boy on there or something, or whatever I want to set up, I can set it up, and then I can use my toe clamps with my 3/8/16 hardware to tighten whatever I want down. Well, okay guys. You get the drift, right? Or the gist, or whatever, you get the message. There you go, new and improved base plate, pretty easy to install. It's an improvement over my original one, which is just great. I'm probably not even halfway through all of the tools that I'm going to be making for fly presses, and that, every time I come up with a tool that I think is helpful and is a success, I'm going to throw it on my website, powerforge.com or pwrforge.com, and if anybody else wants one, there you go, it's there. So that's 2025 for me, the year of the fly press. I dedicated this year earlier in one of my first videos this year that 2025 was the year of the fly press. Like I said, I still have a few more things to make, but this next year, this next year will be the year of something. I don't know. I think I'm gonna change gears though. I definitely like to have a focus and just kind of go hyper extreme on that focus. So I'm gonna have a new goal coming up next year. I don't know what it's gonna be yet, but I'll continue to work on the fly press stuff. But 2026, the year of, we'll see. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys. Catch you on the next one. And Merry Christmas. Bye.